You know that feeling when you just sense there's more inside you, like a higher gear you could be hitting, but you're not quite there.
Oh, absolutely. We're all kind of chasing those aha moments, aren't we? Those flashes of insight that just, light up the path.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing today, digging deep to hopefully spark a few of those for you.
Yeah, we're taking a good look at a really interesting book, John Mason's An Enemy Called Average. One of you actually shared it with us, which is great.
So our mission here is pretty straightforward. We want to get right to the core of this book, pull out their really actionable, maybe even surprising bits of advice.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is to help you, our listener, break free if you're feeling a bit stuck and start moving towards, well, everything you're capable of.
And what's cool about Mason's approach is how he structures it. It's like 52 little nuggets of wisdom.
Right. Bite-sized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Designed to be easy to digest, but still pack a punch. He wanted to get as much meat as possible in an enjoyable, easy-to-read format. Pretty good way to put it.
Okay, let's jump in then. The main idea, it kind of hits you immediately with that title, doesn't it? An enemy called average. That's strong language.
It really is. And he's not just talking about being like statistically average. His definition is more specific.
How so?
Well, he sees mediocrity as this region we can get stuck in. And it's bounded by things like compromise, indecision, always looking back at the past, and just not having a clear vision.
So it's more about the limits we put on ourselves, maybe without even realizing it.
Exactly. It's self-imposed.
So how do we fight this enemy? How do we break out? Mason talks about needing to take the offensive. What does that actually mean day to day?
Well, it's not about being, pushy or aggressive towards other people. It's more of an internal thing first.
Okay.
It's about making inward decisions that then sort of fuel your outward actions.
Yeah.
Being proactive, taking initiative.
Not starting the day in neutral, as he puts it.
Right. It's about setting your own course instead of just, reacting all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. That feeling of being intentional. He even gives some advice for when you're unsure, right? Something about prayer and action.
Yeah, the pray and move toward the situation in faith idea.
Mm-hmm.
He uses that story of the two fishermen in the storm.
Oh, right. Tell us about that.
Well, basically, both prayed for safety, but only one started rowing towards the shore while praying.
Ah, so faith and works.
Exactly. It shows you need both seeking guidance and then actually doing something. And for you listening, wanting that actionable knowledge, it shows insight isn't passive. You got to engage with it.
Okay, so part of this offensive is understanding our own potential. Mason really emphasizes that we each have these unique God-given abilities, gifts.
Mm-hmm. And what's really powerful is his point about how permanent these gifts are. He mentions Romans 11.29, God's gifts and calling are irrevocable.
Irrevocable. Wow. So even if you feel like you haven't used a talent in ages, it's still there.
That's the idea. It's fundamentally part of you, just waiting to be maybe dusted off and used again.
He uses a great analogy too, doesn't he? Like deposits God makes in us.
Yeah, exactly. And we determine the interest earned on those deposits by how much attention and, use we give them.
So the more you use a gift, the stronger it gets, like a muscle.
Precisely. It echoes Romans 12.6 about us all having different abilities we can do well.
And it's not just for us, is it? He says these gifts are meant to impact others too.
Absolutely. They're for fulfilling our own calling, sure, but also for affecting the lives connected to us through those gifts. It really encourages that self-reflection, doesn't it?
Yeah, like asking yourself, what am I actually good at? What are my strengths?
And then crucially, how can I find ways or even create ways to use them?
Yeah.
Actively seek those opportunities.
Which leads right into persistence, doesn't it? You can have gifts, but if you give up easily.
Right. Mason really hammers this point home. Success often comes down to sheer endurance, not quitting when it gets hard. He points to Hebrews 12.1, running the race with perseverance.
I love that Chinese bamboo tree analogy he uses.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. Explain that one.
Well, for like 4 years, you water it, care for it, and nothing seems to happen above ground. But underneath...
Huge root system growing.
Exactly. Then, bam, in the 5th year, it shoots up like crazy. 80 feet sometimes.
It's such a great picture of how growth can be happening unseen. You just have to keep at it, keep nurturing those goals.
Mm-hmm. And that unseen work is often where the foundation for those big aha moments is laid. You've got to trust the process.
He also uses these really powerful questions to make you think. Stuff like, what one decision would I make if I knew it would not fail?
Oof. Yeah, that's a big one.
Or am I becoming ordinary? Am I settling?
They really force you to look inward, don't they? To confront where you might be holding back or playing it safe.
And connect back to those gifts we talked about. What gifts, talents, or strengths do I have? It prompts that inventory.
Definitely. They're meant to be catalysts, pushing you to dig deeper.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Time management, another big theme.
Huge. And his starting point is simple. We all get the same 24 hours, no exceptions.
It's what you do with it.
Exactly. And his advice is pretty practical. Give your best time, your peak energy, to the toughest stuff. Don't just fritter it away.
And then finish what you start. That's a big one, too.
Plus, the power of saying no, that's crucial for protecting your time.
Right. Don't spend $1's worth of time for 10 cents worth of results. I like that.
It's memorable, isn't it? Focus on what actually moves the needle.
He mentions that 6x1 x 6 principle, too. An hour a day, 6 days a week, on something important.
Yeah, it sounds almost too simple, but think about the cumulative effect. That's real progress over time. It links directly back to feeling in control of your life.
And alongside managing time, he talks about managing, well, truthfulness, integrity.
Big time. He focuses right in on the 9th commandment. You must not lie. Unquestionable integrity is key.
Why is it so central to breaking free from average, do you think?
Well, he argues that hope built on a lie collapses eventually, leads to loss. Plus, he suggests lying actually clouds your ability to hear God's guidance.
That makes sense. It creates static.
Yeah. And that classic saying he includes, always tell the truth and you never have to remember what you said. So much wisdom there.
He even lists consequences of lying, drawing from the Bible.
Right. Things like attracting other liars, lacking real understanding, no lasting results, ending up in bondage. It's a stark warning about how destructive it is.
Okay, another enemy of progress. Indecision. Mason calls it deadly.
He really doesn't hold back on that one. He quotes James 1.8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
So being wishy-washy keeps you stuck.
Pretty much.
No.
He says we need to be decisive dreamers. Have big goals, yes, but also the decisiveness to make choices that move us towards them. Otherwise, you just get pulled along by other people's agendas.
Is there practical advice for making decisions when you're unsure?
Yeah, he mentions letting the peace of God act as an umpire in your heart, referencing Colossians 3.15.
An umpire, how does that work?
It's like tuning into that inner sense of peace or unease as a guide when maybe all the facts aren't perfectly clear. Trusting that internal signal.
That's helpful. And this leads into another big one, letting go of the past.
Crucial. He quotes Luke 9.62, no one, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God.
So keep your eyes forward. Don't dwell on past mistakes or failures.
Exactly. He makes the powerful point that past failures don't define your future potential, especially through Christ. Look at Paul's example in Philippians, forgetting what's behind, straining towards what's ahead.
It's about actively choosing to release that baggage, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can't move forward effectively if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror. Today's the day to unburden yourself.
Okay, what about procrastination? That's a classic enemy for many of us.
Oh yeah, Mason calls it a killer. It steals ideas, steals direction. He quotes that Living Bible version of Ecclesiastes 11.4.
If you wait for perfect conditions, you will never get anything done. So true.
Isn't it just? The first step he emphasizes is just dismantling your excuses. Stop making them.
And then he makes that distinction between being busy and actually making progress.
Right. The processionary caterpillar story.
Tell that one again. It's so vivid.
These caterpillars just blindly followed each other in a circle, round and round the rim of a pot for days, even though food was right nearby. They eventually died of starvation and exhaustion.
Wow. Activity without purpose, motion without direction.
Exactly. It's a stark reminder to measure yourself by accomplishment,
Yes.
not just activity. Are you actually getting somewhere?
He also says the cost of growth is less than the cost of stagnation. That hits hard.
It does.
Uh-huh.
Because stagnation feels safe sometimes, but it's actually costing you potential, opportunities. Procrastination means you might miss the boat entirely.
Then there's fear and worry, those big ones.
Yeah, he describes them brilliantly as interest paid in advance on something you may never own.
Huh. That's good. It really captures how fear often trumps faith.
He tells that story about the woman weeping over something terrible that might happen years down the line. It shows how irrational worry can be.
And the word worry itself means to strangle.
Yeah, or to choke off. It literally chokes off positive thinking, creativity, problem solving.
So what's the antidote, according to Mason?
Action, for one. Doing something, even small, shrinks fear. And fundamentally, casting your burdens on the Lord. Psalm 55, 1 Peter 5, give it over. Worry gets you nowhere.
Let's talk about words. Our words have power.
Huge power. Mason calls them seeds planted in other people's lives. And he connects it to Matthew 12.34, the mouth speaks from what fills the heart.
So we need to be intentional about planting good seeds, speaking life.
Definitely. Align your talk with God's word, with positivity. Yeah. And he warns against being part of the murmuring grapevine gossip, negativity.
Referencing John 6 and Philippians 2.
Right. He even suggests that wrong speaking can actually dull your ability to hear God's guidance clearly. It creates noise.
And that brings us back to perseverance again, doesn't it? Sticking with it.
It's a recurring theme because it's so vital. He says simply not quitting sends a powerful message. He quotes Galatians 6.9, don't get weary, you will reap a harvest if you don't give up.
And Philippians 1.6, God finishes what he starts in you.
Look at Joseph's story. Betrayal, prison. He had every reason to quit, but he didn't.
And God's plan unfolded.
Exactly. Mason points out the margin between giving up and success is often razor thin, like the difference between hot water and steam, just 1 degree.
Or the persistent widow in Luke 18. Keep knocking.
The core message is simple. Don't quit. That's the only real failure.
Okay, goals. We need direction. What's Mason's take on goal setting?
He defines a goal really clearly. A dream with a deadline. Simple, but powerful.
And writing them down is key.
Absolutely. He references Habakkuk 2.2, write the vision. Written visions have power. They solidify commitment. Even God wrote his vision down the Bible.
And don't just write it, run with it. Be active.
Yeah. He connects it to Proverbs 24 about building a house, wisely bringing the future into the present through planning and action. He says goals become easier to achieve when they shift from just being out there to being an inner commitment.
Then comes enthusiasm, the fuel.
The secret sauce. He defines it from the Greek entheos, meaning God within, or full of God.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And he makes a simple point. Smile. It literally adds to your face value, improves your outlook. He quotes Helen Keller on that.
And enthusiasm sparks action, right?
Totally. Think about it. Major achievements rarely happen without it. It connects to that joy mentioned in John 15, the joy that comes from being aligned with purpose.
Now, the flip side, excuses, the enemy of action.
Right. Mason is blunt. Quitting, giving up, failing, they often start with an excuse. Romans 2.1 says we're without excuse. Focus on progress, not alibis.
He gives biblical examples, doesn't he? Moses, Gideon.
Yeah, people making excuses to God. And God's response is basically, I'll equip you, just go. Excuses, Mason says, stop you from completing God's assignment for you. John 15.22.
He makes an interesting point about when people quit, too.
Yes, not just after defeat, but sometimes after victory, too. They get complacent.
Robert Schiller's quote, don't cash in, cast into deeper water. Keep going.
Exactly. Maintain that momentum. Mason calls it divine, unstoppable momentum.
And he gives ways to maintain it.
Yep, 5 ways. Stay fruitful, speak truth, aim for spiritual maturity, crave God's word, and keep growing in grace and knowledge. He points to 2 Peter 1 as God's recipe for spiritual momentum.
Personal responsibility, taking ownership.
Non-negotiable. Romans 14.1, we each give an account of ourselves. Stop pointing fingers. Remember, when you point one finger, 3 point back at you.
Good visual. And be careful who you rely on.
Yeah, and rely too heavily on others for direction instead of God. And be cautious in partnerships. Exodus 34.12. Learn for yourself.
Mark Twain's cat quote.
Yes. A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn no other way. Experience is a great teacher.
And faith is like a toothbrush.
Personal, and use it daily. Love that one.
Okay, what about failure? It happens. How do we handle it?
Mason reframes it completely. It's not the end. It's an opportunity to learn. God isn't shocked when we stumble.
He says successful people often fail more than average people.
Because they're trying more. They're taking risks. The key, he says, is how quickly you get back up. That's a sign of maturity.
Learn the lesson, forget the details.
Pretty much. Don't dwell on the failure itself, just extract the wisdom. And take big risks on important things. Don't waste energy on small stuff.
Hunting rabbits in tiger country, he calls it.
Right. Aim high. Stretch yourself. Security and opportunity, he says, are total strangers. Moving with God requires faith, sticking your neck out like the turtle.
Which leads to faith and action being linked.
Inseparable, according to Mason, James 2.17. Faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Faith needs feet.
Put it into action. One person with faith and action is a majority.
He quotes Edison opportunity often looks like hard work and points out how often work is mentioned in the Bible.
And that Holiday Inn founder story.
Kemmons Wilson said he only worked half days, 12 hours. It just shows that applying faith often involves serious effort.
Let's talk about serving others, dying to self daily.
A profound concept. Mason says there's always room at the top for servers. He quotes Zig Ziglar.
You'll always have everything in life that you want if you'll help enough other people get what they want. Classic.
It really is. Selfishness, Mason warns, leads to self-destruction. Real leadership starts with servanthood, Matthew 23, Matthew 20. And there are huge rewards in serving.
And who we surround ourselves with matters too, right? Choosing the right company.
Critically important. We need those foundational level people who sharpen us, bring out our best. Proverbs 7.1, Proverbs 13.20.
Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly. Insulate yourself from negativity, yes. But stay open to godly counsel, because you will become like those you hang around with.
Ecclesiastes 4 talks about the strength in partnership. Two are better than one.
Choose wisely.
What about standing out, being different, not just fitting in?
Mason says, as Christians, we are called to be different. 1 Peter 2.9, a chosen people. Romans 12.2, don't conform.
You can do ordinary things in extraordinary ways with enthusiasm.
Absolutely. And don't just follow the crowd. The majority isn't always right. Be a pioneer. Don't quit just because someone disagrees.
And decide to go through stuff, not just talk about it.
Yes. Don't accept temporary situations as permanent. Walk by faith, not sight. 2 Corinthians 5.7. Change your thinking from I'm going through this to I am going to get through this.
Lean on God's promises. 1 Corinthians 10.32. He provides a way out.
Stand on his faithfulness. Declare, I'm getting through. It's about that transformed mind from Romans 12.2 again.
Okay, saying no. We touched on it with time, but it's a bigger theme too.
It is. The danger isn't always saying yes to bad things, but saying yes to too many good things. That spreads you thin, leads back to mediocrity.
Discern between good and right for you.
Exactly. Learning to say no, even to good ideas, is essential for focus. It's powerful. Saying no to lesser things means saying yes to your real priorities.
And avoid shortcuts outside God's will.
Definitely. Shortcuts often involve compromise.
Yeah.
Be a long-distance runner, not a sprinter looking for the quick fix.
That bird story, trading feathers for worms.
Oof. Yeah. He gets warmth and food short-term, but eventually it trades away so many feathers it can't fly, can't keep warm, and dies. A powerful image of the cost of shortcuts.
The path is often more valuable than the prize.
So true. The growth happens on the journey.
Finally, embracing change.
Yeah.
And starting small.
Mason is encouraging here. He says we're built for change. We can change anytime. Refusing to change just binds you.
Things change fast these days.
Faster than ever. Don't be like that guy with the outdated spyglass on the cliffs of Dover, clinging to old ways when better ones exist. Flow with God. Be flexible.
And big things start small. Don't despise small beginnings.
Crucial point. Many miss God's direction because they're waiting for some huge sign and ignore the small steps right in front of them.
Leap at those small opportunities that move you in the right direction.
Because often the impossible is just the unacted upon small opportunity.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this all up, this deep dive into an enemy called average, the big takeaway seems to be that breaking free really requires conscious effort, right?
Absolutely. Intentionality. Using your unique gifts, sticking with it, making smart choices about your time, your relationships.
And trusting God through it all, especially change.
It's all designed to give you, the listener, those actionable insights, those aha moments Mason writes about.
So maybe the final thought for you to take away is this. What's just one small step, something concrete, inspired by all this, that you can take today, right now?
Yeah, just one thing to start moving away from average and towards that amazing potential you have.
Really reflect on these points. Maybe even grab the book yourself for a deeper look.
It's definitely worth it.
Well, thank you so much for bringing this book to our attention and letting us explore it together.
It's been great digging into it. Lots of powerful stuff here.